Welcome to this week's Sports Back Talk with Bully and Ringer, and here we are in November. No snow on the ground.
Yeah, what's this?
This is my I'm not shaving until Christmas beard.
Okay, the reason is hockey playoffs?
I did it last year at the start of NEA, and I kind of went, yeah, it ain't such a bad thing, And of course, everybody's got to ask you must be deer hunting, and no, I don't deer hunt, so anyway, it's not a conversation piece. It's called I don't like shaving, and I just in the summer it's really not comfortable, and when it starts getting cold, it's nice to keep your cheeks a little warm.
One of the higher ups over at ISD 361, there are any things you can't do as far as how you wear it?
I have not heard of anything like that. We haven't had a whole bunch of guys around with beards. That's.
Remember Neil Bruce, one of my old teachers. He grew one, but he kept it. I think you keep it groomed and stuff.
Yeah, as long as you look.
As long as you show up, you don't have like Doritos hanging off the side of the miss you're okay.
Well, you never know. You might need something like that. So.
But anyways.
You want to start with the Fight Queens?
No.
Oh. Now he's going to pull out his notes. I knew I shouldn't have said.
I don't think I need to bring out notes for that. It's go ahead.
I guess this is what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Blair Walsh. I guess that's probably the number one topic that we need to discuss. Does he lose his job? This is Monday when we're taping this now. Yeah. Job is gone.
But by 2:30 today, he still hadn't. By 5:30 today, he still hadn't. I know they did bring a guy by the name of Randy Bullock. Kicked, I think, last year for the Houston Texans, and he's been around the league. I think he's been in Miami also. So that's what they're going to do, bring in these guys. I wish they would have got a hold of Gould, who ended up with the Giants. But Blair's days are numbered, and it's unfortunate because I think he's a good kicker, but in the mental game, you can't kick with that.
So let me ask this question, and you probably know the answer to this, and I didn't have time to look up the answer. Matt Prater, who was a thorn in the Vikings side yesterday.
Yeah.
He used to kick with Denver.
Yes.
Why is he not kicking in Denver anymore? Because of misses or other stuff?
Same thing. They brought in McManus. There might have been a little contract dispute. I think Prater was going to make a little more money. Prater was sitting at home watching TV when Detroit called, so that's how they get jobs as kickers.
And I guess that's the biggest thing. I think Blair Walsh is a good kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's a great kicker, but that's one thing in the NFL. A guy changes teams, and it kind of starts this cycle around. And I think the Vikings will be fine picking somebody else up. I've been a Blair Walsh fan, and even after he missed last year against Seattle, but his misses are coming at crucial moments. And it's not so bad when you're up 31-7 and you miss a field goal, or you clank one off the goalpost or whatever. You can deal with that. When the games are on the line, people have a tendency to remember those, and that's why I think Blair Walsh is going to be unemployed as of tomorrow with the Vikings, or maybe Wednesday, whenever it all comes down, and he will find himself a job very, very quickly because somebody else is going to get mad at their kicker and bring him in, and he'll have a fine career.
Yeah, I was never a kicker. I was a holder, but my brother kicked. But you have to have a certain mentality. And the red flag should have been thrown up last year, as far as I'm concerned, to Spielman and Zimmer. And when you have a 27-yard gimme, and he shakes it left, that right there told me that he's not a clutch guy. He's not a Vinatieri. He's not a Gostkowski. These Prater, these guys make clutch field goals all the time. And there's no accident because they got good, solid fundamentals. And the minute you start worrying about missing, which is what Walsh has, it's going to continue. And the same thing with that Aguayo kid out of Tampa Bay.
Do you think he got a longer duration to make mistakes because they drafted him and didn't pick him up as a free agent?
Maybe. I think that's what's happening in Tampa Bay. When you're a second-round pick, Blair Walsh, of course, was like a fifth or sixth rounder, but had a really good first year. Okay, which maybe hurt him a little bit too. He was making everything from 55 out, and he was the best kicker in football as far as I was concerned. But kicking's a mental game, and they all can kick it, but they got to kick it between the posts.
Let's talk about the offensive line. Give me a grade on the offensive line from yesterday.
I'd say B+ yesterday. I'd say no problem there. He had plenty of time.
Is that improvement in the line, in the scheme, or does that tell you how bad Detroit's defensive line is?
Maybe a little of both. Detroit didn't have the personnel. They do, but they have 2-3 linebackers that are still out. They really don't have a personnel that can blitz, and a talked with him. He's an Anza, a nice player, but he's the only Russian defensive lineman. I think it was also the schemes. I think they pass a lot more in first and second down, not as predictable as what they're going to pass. And I thought, what's his name, Bradford did look good, but I'd give the whole offense about a B plus.
How about the new offensive coordinator? What grade does he get?
My old saying, and I think you know what it is, I'll take the good players, you can have the good coach. They can put you in a position to succeed and win, but you still have to go out there and do what you're told and make the right blocking assignments and do the right things. So I could coach that.
We've been talking a lot about how good the defense has been this year. Are they responsible for yesterday's loss?
It's 53 guys on a football team, and you know this as well as a lot more than I do. Football is a team game, and it's special teams, defense, offense. Now, did they look like they were the ones that lost the game? Absolutely. I mean, there's some poor management of the clocks, maybe a poor kickoff, lots of things come into play. But when I think it still goes back to your kicker, when you know he can't make a kick, your offense plays differently.
Yep.
They went for it on fourth down earlier in the game because they just don't trust them, and I don't blame anything. The only thing I thought the coaching, I think Zimmer took a lot of responsibility today. Why they had guys 40 yards deep and knowing that Detroit was not going to score a touchdown. They should have been sending 6 on the rush at least, maybe 7. Put 4 guys back and covering the 4 guys and let them see if we can get the ball off because I thought it was poor coaching myself.
Okay, fair enough. Well, what else did you see in the NFL yesterday? Anything?
Green Bay, kind of enjoyed that. A little shellacking. Aaron Rodgers has kind of struggled fantasy football-wise the last year and a half. But the last 3 weeks, he's doing really good.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're losing.
They're 0-3.
They're losing. Okay, so fantasy football owners, if you're looking to like a Drew Brees, if you're looking to find a good player, find a losing team. Because they're the ones that put up the numbers every year. But I think Detroit's they're legit. I mean, it's not a great defense. You know who put it really well? Mark Rosen. I don't know if you've heard of Mark Rosen.
I know who Mark Rosen is. I did not hear what he said.
Sports on the Twin Cities, and made a great comment. You got New England Patriots, and then you got about 20 others, and then you got the bottom feeders.
Yeah.
Vikings are in those 20 others. Detroit, Green Bay, they're all in those 20 others. Okay, but you got New England up here. Maybe Dallas is getting there, but Jerry Jones will find a way to screw that up. He already is by keeping Romo on his team. But I'm sure he has to with his contract. But I think you got those 2 teams, and then there's a bunch of guys that can win. Okay, but aren't very good at it, aren't real consistent at it.
Sure.
Then you got the Clevelands and the Miamis, the Jets, and all those teams down there who just won't win. And so the NFL is kind of what they want it to be, except New England's going to be good until Belichick gets out of there.
What about your number 1 receiver? How did he do yesterday?
Antonio?
Yeah,
I traded him.
You did not.
I told you I was trading
You
him.
you said you were going to.
I traded him.
And how did he do yesterday after you traded him?
I'm on a 3-game winning streak since I traded him. So right now, I'm in first place in the International Falls Fantasy Football League, the number 1 fantasy football league here in International Falls. And I'm in first place all alone with a 77-2 record. There's 4 teams behind me at 6-3. And there's 1 team at 1-8. Do you want to know who it is?
The guy who was here with us last time?
No, his dad. Him and Chuck Sorry. So, Chuck happens to pull you over for speeding somewhere out there. Just say, hey, Chuck, how's your fantasy football team?
And you get a double
And you
ticket.
might add a little more to that fine.
Oh, you want it only at 74 miles an hour? No, it's at 78 is what I anyway.
But anyways, I don't have a good enough team probably to win it all. I keep saying that, and I keep someone will find a way to win. I did get DeMarco Murray in the trade for Antonio Brown. He's a solid running back, gets me 14 to 20 every week, and my receivers, Tyrell Williams of San Diego, he's been getting in the end zone every week, so I haven't missed Antonio Brown yet. I'm sure he's got about 3 or 4 big games coming up, but so far so good.
Hockey?
Hockey,
Wild. Well, they lose 1-0 on Saturday, and Boudreaux says it's the best game they've played all year.
Yeah, boy.
Did you watch it? Because I got to watch 0 seconds of it.
You know where he's at?
No,
He's kind of in the Mike Zimmer mode right now, where he's pounded on me, and I know the feeling, okay, because I've coached and I'm pretty intense at it. You can pound on the kids or the players so long, and then it doesn't work. Okay, so Boudreau and Zimmer coach very similarly. They get on their players. They're tough on them. Their expectations are high for their players. But both right now are in soothing mode. Okay? You understand what
I do. I get that.
So they're in soothing mode, especially Zimmer. But Boudreau, I was a little surprised he said that. What it told me is he's got a very fragile group right now. You got injuries to some key players like Parisi, Scandella, Hall, and they're missing some key components. They got this Bershey who gave it, who, to be honest, was a bad penalty the other night. And Schrader just can't get close enough to score. He skates all over the ice, but he can't get to the net. So you got minor leaguers playing, and I think Boudreau's being real careful with what he's saying right now, and he trying to take something positive out of there. I will admit, I said through the first two periods, this is the best they played all
Really?
year. Yeah.
Okay.
They couldn't score, they couldn't finish, but they did play a good, sound two-way game, which I liked. And he was right. They're going to win a lot more than they're going to lose if they continue to play like that.
Sure.
But to say that out in public, I didn't care for that too much. And the Wilder, who I thought they were going to be, Ringer. I mean, I think it's a 500 team at best, non-playoff team, and I'm going to make you come March or April. I'm going to say I told you so.
I see the Blackhawks are in first place.
Yeah, they brought off 7-8 wins in a row now,
Okay.
and they're beating a lot of bad teams. I mean, they did sweep Chicago or Dallas over the weekend, but you know what I think of Dallas? I think they're similar to the Wild, and the Nationals been continuing to struggle.
What did you see the Nashville or the Toronto Vancouver fight? What? Give me a little more background, because I caught a piece of the story. All of a sudden I saw the goaltenders wailing on each other. So
well, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll get my take on that. I'm not a big Matt Martin fan, and Matt Martin was the middle of that. And if you go back a couple of years ago, Matt Martin was the one that took Keith Ballard's head and rang it up against the sidewall.
Yep.
For no reason, came clear across the ice, came flying across, and I'm being partial on this, okay? I'm not saying it because he's a Badette kid or a Wild player or anything. Martin went out of his way from the other side of the ice to come over and take him out. And his head smacked the boards, kind of like there, the top of the boards. And Ballard today still is concussed, has troubles. And again, I'm not speaking for Keith Ballard, but still having troubles from what I heard last is with White and all that. And so basically he ruined that career, and there's a few others he's come close to ruining. So I'm not a big Matt Martin fan. He was the main guy in that. He was the one that Ryan Miller went after. If you remember Stetcher played at UND last year. Well, Matt Martin went in and ran him and tried to get things going because there was a bunch of other stuff going on before. So he got Stetcher to want to fight him. Well, Stetcher's 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing, and Matt Martin starts weighing. Well, Ryan Miller, who's a big goalie, probably 6'5", 6'6", he jumped out of his crease and went running right at Martin and started wailing punches at him, and they started going at it. The goalie from the other end came down, and as they always do, and so it was a melee. But there's another guy involved in this, is Dorsett.
okay.
Kind of been around the league, kind of like a Ryan Reeves type. They're just out there to do one thing only, cause problems and stir it up. And Burroughs was another one involved, number 14 for Vancouver. He speared Morgan Riley, where you don't want to be speared. And so it's just one thing after another. So I'm on Twitter and I'm making my comments, and all of a sudden I got a conglomerate of 7 or 8 people from the Toronto area.
Nice.
On me, saying, how can you back up Vancouver and Dorsett? Matt Martin's a good soul. And I said, what? I said, I got the tapes. If you guys want me to show what he did to Ballard, I said, no, they all got histories, okay, these big guys. And most of them are gentle giants. They'd walk here in the Looney's Brew and sit down, and they're the nicest guys in the world. On the ice, they get triggered. There's another personality that comes out, and it happens to a lot of hockey players, and that's kind of what happened. Is what was goofy is the big guys were going after the good players. And it all started with one of the Nazem Kadri, who's kind of a skilled player, but he's a cheap, dirty cheap. He's a sneaky cheap player, which is the most dangerous in my opinion, because nobody expects him to do what he does, and he continues to do it. He actually did it to Mikael Granlund last year. He ran him from behind, and Granlund was out for a few weeks, but Kadri took a blindside hit on one of the Sedin twins and went face first in the ice, and that's kind of what started it all. And Kadri got off scot-free because of the rule book saying he didn't intentionally try to do it. But I played the game. He did it. He tried to do it.
Okay. What else you got on that sheet of paper?
What else do I got on this? Oh, Torch talking hockey. Great thing came out in the press this week, and I just loved it because I'm not an analytic guy. I hate it. And analytics are so involved in all the major sports, baseball, basketball, football. 2 + 8 + 7 + 3 means you shouldn't put this guy out against this guy.
Yep.
Basically what analytics is.
Yeah.
They're looking at percentages of what can go wrong or what can happen right if you have these situations. Well, John Tortorella, we all know Torts, coaches the Columbus Blue Jackets. Somebody asked him a question about statistics and analytics, and he just went off.
Okay.
And he basically tore into the press and let everybody know what he thought about analytics, and I just loved it because
You agree 100%?
if you're a hockey person or a basketball person or baseball or football, you can look at a player and watch how he plays to know if he should be out there. You can't look at a piece of paper with a bunch of numbers. I know you're a math teacher and you firmly believe in all statistics, but
the numbers don't lie.
They don't if that's what you got to rely
Yeah.
on. But if you're that brain dead as far as not understanding the game well enough to stay away from it, you can use it. Did I just spill?
Nope.
Okay. You can use it to your benefit. Okay. I mean, yeah, we got outshot 48-12 because that's what the stats say.
Right. But if you're if that's all you're basing your decisions on, and you can't have a feel for the game,
Yeah.
then you're in the wrong business.
Exactly.
I agree.
Like you've asked me many times, you said, Bully, where are the statistics for hockey players? I said, you won't find any. Don't have them. Okay? Larry Ross didn't believe in it. They keep them now. But there are a lot of guys out there that scored a lot of points and nobody even knows how many they got. So, I think that's kind of where I probably got that and learned that to me, it's all about the team, and individual stats are a nice thing to have, but it doesn't make your team better.
College hockey this weekend. The Gophers and the Hawks. The Gophers get the better of that. Surprised me a little bit. The Dogs get a sweep on the road at St. Cloud State. That's four of the major teams that we would follow around this area. The Dogs did it twice in comeback fashion, and of course the North Dakota and Minnesota series was pretty much as advertised. It was good hockey.
Yeah, the big thing there is if you look at UMD's roster, they are loaded, front end loaded with seniors and juniors and high-end sophomores. They got some good freshmen, that Joey Anderson and Ryan Tuffy, both NHL draft picks. They're good, but it's the Tornadoes and Iafolas and that Susie, who's the defenseman back there. They have a lot of experience, unlike the Gophers, North Dakota, and St. Cloud, who are all going to continue. St. Cloud, they got like a bunch of, they're all like little clones. They're all 5'11", 170 pounds, and they all just run around the ice. You can't tell the difference between any of them. Well, now they got 3 Palings on there, and the 3 Palings, I know why they're recruited, because they all look the same as the other ones.
Sure.
It's a nice team, though. They're going to be good at the end of the year. Again, UMD's the most experienced out of those 4, and they're going to be the best ones in the beginning of the year.
Well, and I agree. I think you said this a couple of weeks ago about North Dakota Young. Lost a lot of guys to the NHL, into graduation, and they're going to. Their time is coming. So I don't think the North Dakota fans. Well, I think are a little worried, but I don't think they're ready to throw anything off the edge, because this is it's only November, and you need to be playing well come March, and I suspect that all 4 of those teams actually will probably have a say in there somewhere along the way, unless the injury hits.
Well, UMD and St. Cloud and North Dakota, all 3 are going to be atop the NCHC. Probably Denver's going to be up there. Western Michigan's been surprising some teams. I see Deanie's team over in Nebraska, Omaha, been struggling a little bit, but he'll get that group tightened up. And Big Ten, who cares? I see Notre Dame signed on with the Big Tens and all their odd numbers, so I don't know if Arizona State's the next one they had, but right now they said no, and they say no to Mankato. Mankato went out this weekend and got beat up by Northern Michigan, or one of those also ran. So nice job there, Mankato. Want to play with the big boys.
Yeah.
You have to beat your own boys first.
There you go. That's a good point. What else you got on that sheet of
I
paper?
don't know, I can't read it.
It says UND, best team in college hockey, called the Cubs won the World Series. You really want to talk about
Why don't
that?
you talk? I'm going to fill out my...
I don't. Hey, I saw something interesting. First of all, it was very exciting. I was driving home Wednesday night after doing a volleyball game on the radio, and I was listening to the game. And I think I just about went off the road when Cleveland tied it at 6 in the top of the 8th as I was driving home, and I'm like, I might get home for the end of this. Well, then the rain delay came, and some people talk that the rain delay helped the Cubs kind of organize their thoughts and settle them down, and it very possibly did. But it was a whale of a series. It was fun to watch the parts that I did. It was interesting. It was a good conversation piece. But I found it interesting. I saw this on Facebook. The ratings for the Atlanta Braves Minnesota Twins 1991 Game 7 were higher than the Game 7 series here. And I don't know if baseball can get a much better situation than the Cubs. Maybe they could have had New York or LA in there for some more whatever. But if baseball can't get better than that with what they have going on, I don't know how it's going to happen. So,
The last one I didn't watch it.
why didn't you watch it, Mike?
It's boring. It's flat out boring. I mean, really?
The biggest thing about it is the commercials and they add in 30 seconds, and now it's 3 minutes in between half inning, and then all the pitching changes and all of the reviews and everything else.
There's going to be some changes in Major League Baseball. Like you can only change one pitcher per inning. You can't change 2 or 3 times. This time frame in between games, and my brother's a big opponent against that. Is why during the regular season you're playing every day, and then when the playoffs start you're playing every other, and pitchers get an extra day off, and basically you only need.
I think that's the number one reason right there.
3 pitchers.
So the best pitchers are pitching more often in the World Series. I think
Didn't bring ratings up. I want to see Joe Schmo out there giving up 10. Okay? I mean, my gosh, it's like it's boring. I'm glad. The only thing that could have happened with the Cubs game would have been a black cat could have ran out on the field, because here they come. Cleveland ties it up. Starts raining. It's like these poor Chicago Cubs fans that have been in there, and then they got that picture. Did you see the picture of the lady?
Did not, I don't think.
Well, she was present during the last World Series they were in. Which is what?
The last one they won?
No, that they were in.
1945.
Yeah, so she was in there, and then they showed her a picture again, and so it's kind of, I guess, emotional.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cub fans that did a lot of crazy things for their dead fathers, uncles, whoever, whatever. Like I said, it was interesting. I'm glad it's time to move on.
Yeah, it's almost Thanksgiving. Thank God it's over. I mean, they're playing at Christmas next year.
We'll talk about the Timberwolves.
You know what I like best about the doggone thing?
You like something about the World Series?
Well,
besides the fact
they
that
had
it's over.
Ross and who's the Pizza? What's the first base? Rizzo. A couple of the guys are on Saturday Night Live, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
It was funny.
I heard something about it. I did not get to see it. I'll have to look it up on YouTube.
It's the most I got out of the whole World Series.
There you go.
The Blues Brothers.
The Blues Brothers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was awesome.
That was their address.
That's right. The Cubs, Wrigley Field, absolutely. So Timberwolves sitting at 1-4. Looked really bad against Oklahoma City the other night. Not that that's a bad thing, because a lot of teams are going to look bad against Oklahoma City this year. But the Wolves sitting at 1-4. Don't throw them off the edge yet, Mike. It's still going to be okay. They'll be all right.
Really?
Still going to win.
This ain't Kool-Aid, but you want some?
35 games they're going to win.
Huh?
Going to win 35 games.
This ain't Kool-Aid, but
I
you want some?
understand. 35 games.
No, it's same old in Timberwolves land. Go back to you got to know how to win. You can't teach players how to win, and if they're in a losing environment, it's going to keep happening. Rubio's always hurt. Same old story with him. Much like Parisi's always hurt. It's like come to Minnesota, get injured, stay injured, lose, and
Get
move on.
money.
Yeah, God, do I sound bitter tonight.
You do sound bitter tonight. Let's move on to a little high school sports. If I might go that direction, girls swimming and diving have their preliminaries for the sections on Thursday, finals on Saturday, and let's hope that we can get somebody off to the state swimming meet. I think they've got a chance in a few events to possibly do that. We'll see how things turn out. So that's Thursday, Saturday, down in Duluth at the new middle school that they built. I don't know if you've been down toward, there's a middle school over towards Denfeld.
Is it near Buffalo Wild Wings?
No.
Then I wouldn't know where it is.
It is absolutely stunning, the building they put up there, the overlook of Lake Superior. Anyway, that's where the section meet is at on Thursday and Friday, or Thursday and Saturday, excuse me. And of course, girls hockey practice got underway last week, and they have their first game next Tuesday. So we may have to talk about your brother and his team next Monday a little bit.
I talk about my brother all the time.
I know, but we'll probably have to do it on the show here a little bit, as a little preview.
Well, it's they always play Roseville first game of the year, and Roseville's usually pretty loaded, and it's kind of a wake-up call for his girls, and also a lot of times a lot of his players are missing because of swimming and cross country and the other sports. But this year it looks like he might have a full team early on in the year. Sari's a nice player. She always seems to advance in these state tournaments. And I don't know if anybody else will be missing from that group. I know Lee Morris have swam in the past. And,
there'll be a couple players that'll be missing. I know one of the goaltender, Wegner, is swimming.
She's a swimmer.
So I know she hasn't been to practice yet, and a few others. But they'll get things started next week. Of course,
Broncos girls will lost basically one player off last year's team.
they'll be all right. They got lots of experience on the blue
Edwards
line.
and Edwards and Tila on their back, and so they're going to be pretty prolific at scoring.
Defense should be good.
Need to have them girls picking up against the big teams.
Yep, absolutely. Of course, next week, boys hockey practice starts and girls basketball as we get back to the more traditional girls basketball before boys basketball and everything getting underway. So, we're starting to turn the page from fall sports to winter sports. What else?
What about this putting the clock back stuff? How'd that go for you?
Putting the clock back stuff for me. Well, I'll tell you, I needed that extra hour of sleep like you can't believe.
Like today or yesterday?
And I used it to its fullest effect. And I even put a nap on top of that. I think I might have caught up finally. It was a very busy week for me last week, running around doing games for Sheldon and other radio stations. I did lots of put a lot of miles on. I did a volleyball game on Wednesday for Deer River, and did a football game Friday night for between Northwoods and Ely, and then did the Deer River volleyball match on Saturday afternoon. So it was a busy week, lots of running around. So I put that full effect. How about
Well, the way I looked at it, I'm out there doing chores all morning on Sunday and working my butt off and cleaning the yard and raking leaves and doing stuff in the garage and Christmas lights and all that.
Did you get the pontoon?
Holiday lights.
Did you get
the pontoons all bubbled up and
Good deal.
safe in my father-in-law and mother-in-law's garage or
Beautiful.
barn? But I'm getting done. It's like 11 o'clock and Diana goes, "Well, what are you doing?" I'm going in the house. Time to watch the Vikings. She goes, "They aren't on at noon." I said, "Well, it was noon yesterday at this time. I'm done." I said, "I lost my hour, and this is how I'm going to get it back."
And that's all you did.
That's right. I had to watch pregame, and I had to look at the injuries for my fantasy football team and make sure I had the right lineup.
What else? Do we need?
What else? Geez.
Geez,
Anything
college-
else on my notes? Or?
That was it. College basketball.
I mean, that was it.
That was it. Seriously.
Next time they go for
We talked Gopher and UND hockey. We talked about the Wild. We talked about the Vikings. We talked about Tortorelli. We talked about the Cubs. We talked about UND and the best college team and best team in college hockey. I think.
Big Irish win over the All Blacks this weekend.
Good job,
First
Mr.
time in
Punchicard.
111 years.
How surprised were you by the result that Ireland beat New Zealand in rugby at Soldier Field to boot?
At Soldier Field is a home game for Ireland, probably, because you've got the Chicago Irish, and I think it was kind of like my girlfriend was there. She said it was 80% green,
Nice.
and
How come she was there and you weren't?
because I'm going to a rugby tournament to play in December, so
Ah.
I that shows which my rugby trip I can go on.
That's fair enough.
My roommate in college was a rugby player, and he was
What school?
Providence College. He was basically a nutball.
Did he have really cool one-word nicknames?
They were nuts, and what I liked best about them, they were a club team, a college club
No,
team.
him. Like, what was his nickname?
His
Everyone's
name
got
to
a
me,
nickname.
it was Stoff.
Okay.
His last name was Stouffer, so we called him Stoff. But what I liked best about him and why I enjoyed him as a roommate, they have the best parties. These guys beat up each other for 2 hours.
You wouldn't know about that punch.
They beat up each other for 2 hours. They have at
All about the
least 2
sport.
kegs of beer together that they get together after the game's over, and they're like best buddies after. It's the greatest sport.
There you go. That's
Thanks
what
for
it is.
Greatest sport in the world.
It is. It's pretty cool, but you have to be a little whacked to play it.
Q&A, I see him writing questions back there, so we got to go to Q&A.
I was just curious if you know, with the election, how big a turnout do you think it would be?
Ah, wow. As far as
Or you could
turnout,
go like
interesting.
even like locally. You know?
Interesting. I think Minnesota will have a fairly high turnout. I don't know if it'll be where they want it to be in the. I'm going to go to the social studies teacher. Is it like 78% like the
No,
record?
that's high. I would.
But that's like the
Minnesota
record.
shoots higher than most other places in the nation. I would see 70s, mid 70s in Minnesota. Nationwide, 60%, 65%.
I'll go with those numbers, and I wonder if part of the reason, and obviously the presidential
probably
election
65.
is going to bring more people out, but it's very interesting. I know we talked about this one time before about the number of open spots there are for seats. My hometown made the Duluth paper on Sunday about how many open spots they have, and I just wonder if people aren't going to go out and vote because, well, they don't have any candidates to vote for. Maybe they'll bring more people up because they'll have the ability to be able to write in candidates. Like I said, but I suspect that it'll be very high. The good weather here will definitely help Minnesota out as far as getting people out to vote.
The big states, I think that's going to decide it, if it hasn't already been decided. Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I won't bet anybody in here. It's a Hillary vote. And North Dakota, they'll vote Trump, and so those same status quo states will be the same. But it always seems every year, Ohio, Florida, Pennsylvania normally not, but they're going to be right in the mix. And so it should be fun watching those states pop up. I'm guessing the news stations will keep those votes till last because they want people to watch as long as they can. But it should be good.
What else you got?
You don't vote.
Just,
Well,
you're talking about with Alex, and you're talking about having a fit field. It's like, you know, what do you do if you're in a slump? You know, that happens. So that's the terminology of like you're on a losing streak.
That's when
What
you,
would be my answer?
that's when you do what you need. You roll a piece of paper behind your ear and you say, all right, now you got to go back. You do
The
something
biggest
crazy.
thing with being in slumps or having a hard time is work harder. That's always been my.
Superstition, you know, if you're
No.
winning, don't change your socks. Or
No, I mean, I think hard work really makes up for a lot of
Don't wash your clothes.
issues. So that's.
Way ahead of you.
Are you superstitious?
no, I was just kind of curious. You know, you were talking analytics before. Well, superstition and everything else
Oh,
that
I
kind of
see.
goes against it, or even analytics could say like, well, you haven't changed the socks and you're on 80% winning streak, so
We got some.
I got dinner to me.
We got some pretty interesting elections right here in town. I know like a bunch of people are going for school board.
Lots of people for 4 or 5 spots up for the school board, I believe, and also a 2-year for the school board. That's a
Junket. Who do you want to be on the school board?
I'd like
That's
to,
what
you know, that's a loaded question
You
because
can ask me. I'll give you my answer.
I'll put it to you this way.
I can tell you who I don't.
People who you think would make good school board members don't, and people who you would think would be horrible school board members actually become very good. And it's kind of interesting how it works out. Sometimes I think they get too involved. Sometimes I don't think they're involved enough. And it'll be interesting to see how things turn out. There is like I said, it is an important election as far as that goes. And of
Some
course, you got
people
mayor
have-
and everything else.
Some people have personal agendas, you know.
Absolutely.
And some people are accused of having personal agendas and don't, you know. So It's kind of funny.
Yep.
What else?
Alright, just going on. You know, do you think U.S. soccer will actually dominate sometime? Or take off even, or survive?
I think it'll survive. I think the MLS is strong enough in the areas, maybe not here in Minnesota. That'll be interesting to see how when the MLS team gets started here. I think it's in 2017, next year, right? If I remember it, or is it 2018? I can't remember.
It's the stadium.
I think that'll help the interest in this area. I think soccer obviously isn't growing with the young kids like it used to, but I think I don't think they'll ever dominate. I think there's too many. It's too worldwide. No team dominates anymore. I mean, you can get Germany or Brazil or Argentina. I mean, somebody's always going to come through and have a run of players. So as far as dominating, I don't think, can they continue to be competitive? I think they can always make the final 16 of a World Cup. Those kinds of things. It's going to be tough to get into that top four, to get to the semifinals, quarterfinals. But in the future, I think it's always going to be tough to get there. You're going to need a little luck, and we definitely have the number of people to do it. We have the number of athletes. It'll be just interesting to see if we get the good enough athletes to go play soccer.
Do you think it would actually overtake like fan base over football? Because you also have a lot of areas that, you know, people are coming from other countries and they're looking at their sports team or their soccer game, you know, back in Europe. In Europe, it's like that's the number one sport. And you have a lot of people that came from Europe or other places throughout the world that had soccer, and if there was a local team.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see what happens over the next 15 to 20 years with football, with American football, as far as injuries, concussions, the state of the game. The NFL is in a state of decline right now for a variety of reasons. I don't think you can pinpoint just one of them. I think the injuries, the concussions is part of it. People are not wanting their kids to play it. You talked about the concussions in hockey. I see them being just as much of a part of the game in hockey as football, but football definitely gets the shorter end of the stick on that. And I see a lot of people being anti all kinds of football. I mean, it's huge. I don't think you can take it down, or if you can, it's going to take a long time. But I think there's a movement out there for some people to try to let football go away. And if that would happen, it'd be very interesting to see what would happen with soccer and some of these other sports, baseball, getting more of those athletes and other things. So that's a long question there.
And I actually said at the beginning, I think it was the beginning of last year, I believe the NFL will not exist in 30 years. I don't think professional football will be a sport in 30 years. I firmly believe that. I will stick to it, and I hope the heck when I'm 85, I'll be here to say I told you so. But I just don't see it going. I think the society's become so protective right now.
So let me ask, does it start from the bottom up? Do you start seeing football going away at the high school level, at that age level, and working its way up, or does it work its way down?
You already see it in the state of Minnesota. There's less and less players participating. More down in the youth, where all the parents here are bad things, and they're not letting their kids play 6th, 7th, and 8th grade football. And by the time they're in high school, if they wanted to play anyways, it's probably a lot of times too late. So I just see it going away more because of parents maybe getting really involved in it, which is good in a way. But maybe being a little overprotective, but that's society now. They don't want to be responsible for their child sitting in a hospital bed, not being able to talk. So it's unfortunate.
More safe than they ever been.
What's that?
Sports now are more safe than they ever been.
The equipment's much better. It's a great point, very good point. But I got my beliefs and my thoughts on it, and I might be wrong. I've been wrong 32 times already this week, and it's only Monday.
Nice. You got something else on there?
Yeah, just thinking, since I believe it's the end of the quarter or trimester, depending on what you're on, or getting close to it. I mean, you always hear stories about athletes that, have a hard time passing certain grades. I mean, how much important is it to actually get a good education, or things that they can do, or things that you see that cause a problem with it?
not to get too far into this, but when I did my master's, oh my gosh, that's almost 17 years ago, we did a study, and it actually showed that when kids were in a sport, they actually did better in school. They actually did better academically, even though they might be busier and whatever else. Usually during their season, during their sports season, they did better. So I know for some kids that is the opposite, because they're so busy, they're so involved with their sport that their grades have a tendency to go away, or they don't put as much time into their schoolwork with travel, especially for the winter sports. I think it's more so because of all the travel during the middle of the week, where football is just on the end of the week, and I think that gives that a little edge. But I think for more often than not, kids do better academically. Athletes do better when they are in the sport and they've got their classes going on. So I'm a big believer in trying to keep those two things married, responsible. The kids making sure that they're keeping up good grades to be able to participate.
I agree totally. That's all the things I've heard. Of course, you're probably never going to hear the negative ones, but most athletes are very self-motivated. They understand what can happen if they don't keep their grades up. And you're always going to hear about the ones that aren't making it, but I'd rather talk about the 90-95% that are doing extremely well. So, great question. Boy, we're getting some toughies.
Is he done?
I'm
I think he wants to tell you. I think he wants to add something to that.
How about you, Barkeep? What else you got?
She was shaking her head over there. I think
She's mad at me when I was making them comments. I like that though. You know, today's world, if we all get along, it'll be a pretty boring
I'm trying to
world.
think of something good.
Oh yeah.
Nothing's
You
coming.
like sports? Were you an athlete or not? That
I played softball.
When did you play?
6th through about 10th grade.
Okay.
Made the all-star team in 6th grade, but I was too young to play.
Okay.
My birthday
How old
was
are
3
you?
months too short. 21.
21. Okay, so you're a young pop.
Oh, yeah.
Good hire, by the way. She's a nice gal. She works hard, and she's on top of her game here at Looney's Brew. We didn't mention that enough tonight, but always fun to come to Looney's. Great stop, and it's always a good atmosphere. We got a crowd of about 15. We've been pretty quiet here tonight, but thanks to all of them for coming. What else? Anything?
That's it.
I'm good. Don't take us too serious.
Thanks, everybody.